Hi, I'm Harley. Tonight on Harley's Sleepytime Cinema Selection, we are on to night 2 of entire movies you can watch on YouTube. You might notice that there is some sun behind me. I am filming a little bit earlier in the day than I typically do, but also we're getting into summertime where I live, and it will be lighter and lighter, longer and longer. So my kids are still awake. It's exhausting. Anyhow, I'm going to start off two things. First of all, I have to give a big thanks to David M., Jaguar 2048, for his contribution last week and enabling the show to continue. Also, number 2, I have to apologize because this movie, it is a good movie. It's a documentary. It's called The Bridge. It's a downer, and I realized after I watched it that the last 2 movies are just huge bummers. They really are. And I know that there is stuff that's not depressing as fuck on YouTube. So that's where we're going tomorrow night. Where I'm going to find something funny or scary or I don't know, but it's not going to be sad. That's the thing. It's just not going to be sad. So The Bridge is a documentary. It was released in 2006. It centers around the Golden Gate Bridge, which is the most sought after place. It's the place where people most frequently go to kill themselves, unfortunately. And the movie focuses on the family and friends of people who have jumped off. It interviews those people and kind of gives a perspective of the mind frame of the people who jumped, and it gives you a picture of who gets left behind and the kind of damage that wreaks, that does leave behind. Some people are very peaceful about it and know that their loved ones struggled with mental illness for a long, long time, and they finally got the peace that they had sought. Some people are left with just question upon question. They just can't understand what happened or why it happened, and there was no mental illness. It was just very sudden for them. There is a story of a survivor who, according to Wiki, is still alive, which made me happy. I mean, I think the movie has to have that moment of levity of knowing that there's a finality, but it's not final for everyone. About 2% of jumpers do live and survive to tell the tale. Of those 2% that survive, I think it's about 85-90% are successful at living. They don't attempt again, but there is a percentage out there that will eventually follow through, unfortunately, with what they intended to do. It's very sad. It's something that it kind of touches near and dear to me. I've known a couple of people who have fought this, unfortunately. I'm gonna get emotional. A lot of them have made it, but somebody who was very close to me did not. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. And I think the people who made this movie made it with the intention of showing that there's more out there. And there's so much you can miss out on. Sorry. I learned a lot of interesting things while researching The Bridge. It's almost 9,000 feet long. It has 80,000 feet of cable. It was painstakingly made cable. There's enough cable there to wrap around the Earth, the middle of the Earth, the equator of the Earth, 3 times. It is 220 feet from, thank you, Ivy, from the bottom of the bridge, or from the bridge to the water. So 220 feet, that's a long way down. During the construction, it was made in the early 1900s, which was notoriously a terrible time to be a construction worker. It paid well, but it was like 1 in 100 people died. There's some statistic I read, and I should have written it down because I don't remember the exact statistic, but like of $1 million projects, like they would estimate if a project cost $2 million, then 200 lives would be lost or more. It was just, it's crazy, especially nowadays when work fatalities are pretty infrequent. I mean, it depends on your job, of course, but in construction work, it's pretty safe, I would say. There's been a lot of things go into keeping people safe. The company behind the bridge went to painstaking detail to make sure that people were safe. I mean, so far as to provide them with certain food, so they would be, so they would have proper nutrition, so that they would not get low blood sugar and get woozy while working. They had to wear special ointment to protect them from the high winds while they were working. All provided by the company that they worked for, which was virtually unheard of. I mean, at that time, you just got hired, and if you died, it was like, oh, well, so bye. There's 10 other people lined up waiting to do your job. The company that was building the bridge, I think it's either Strauss or Strauss. Yeah, Google that. I messed that up. They built a net as actually the same type of net that was used at the time in circuses under like trapeze artists and stuff, but they made it huge. It was 15 feet wider than the width of the bridge and 10 feet longer than the section of bridge that they would work on at a time. They managed to save 19 people's lives who would have otherwise fallen to their death accidentally while constructing the bridge. There was unfortunately some fatalities during the construction, but it happened when a piece of scaffolding fell down with 12 people on the scaffolding. Of those 12, 11 did perish, but one was saved by the net. I mean, that's 20 people who wouldn't have died in total by the lengths that these people went to keep their company workers safe. Again, which was like unheard of. It's crazy. Now, as far as the movie, the total number of deaths of people who have leapt from the bridge is unknown because the Highway Patrol stopped releasing the actual numbers in about 1995. It's estimated up until about 2014 that there were about 1,600 fatalities from the bridge. It does kill about 98% of the people who jump. It is almost always certainly fatal. The youngest person, this really, really gets to me. The youngest person to die from the bridge was 3 years old. This little girl, unfortunately, it was not an accident. Her father threw her from the bridge and then jumped himself. Another napkin, because I read this and I've not been able to get it out of my mind all afternoon. My youngest is 3, and I can't imagine the pain that father was going through to get to that point in your head to make that seem like the best option. And then just the terror of that child because they trust you. Like, at 3 years old, you're God to your child. I mean, they trust that you know everything. You have all the answers. And to think that you're just going on a scenic walk on this beautiful bridge, and all of a sudden to just be flung off of it, I can't even. They're just not words. I mean, that's just messed up. So the movie, I will say, it is good. It can be difficult to watch in places. There are moments that will take your breath away. You will be left, if you're anything like me, in parts in tears, and in times laughing, and times just in awe of what beauty is possessed in this bridge and surrounding the bridge. It's just, it is something. It is definitely worth an hour and 32 minutes, I believe, of your time to go watch. And let me know what you think. If you are having thoughts, there are people out there that will help. There's so much worth living for. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Bye, guys.